This Monday post All-Star break edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. What's your sport? Hockey, basketball, baseball, football, maybe even wrestling, whatever it is, you can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now, with the promo code Sports Addict, you get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. That's right, 10% off with the promo code Sports Addict. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number one STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never.
And welcome. We are back. Pucks Across Borders, Sports Addict Live, and Total Apex Sports on Twitter, on YouTube, the whole deal. It is good to be back. At the top of your screen, beside me, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. Uncle John, how you doing, bro? Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. For those listening in, for why he called me that, shout out to my sister. I'm about to become an uncle for the second time. I think either at the end of today or tomorrow. So shout out to her and the rest of my family there. But thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. So things are going good. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it in today, honestly. But for now, I get to kick it with you guys and talk some NHL.
Yes, sir. Super excited for you, man. Super excited. At the bottom of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics, winners and whiners. You see him talk about the NBA and the NFL on Total Apex Sports. Andre, how are you, man?
Fantastic. Excited for some more hockey. Excited to be talking to you boys again. Feel like it's been too long. We got a nice little break, Got to see Team Matthews take it home in the All-Star game. It's where both the Rangers were. So little victories.
That's right. The small things. Yeah, it was a great weekend across the NHL. I know in Toronto here hosting the NHL All-Star game. Huge success up here. You had everything from Justin Bieber to Michael Bublé on mushrooms, to Connor McDavid winning the skills competition, to everything. It was phenomenal. Obviously, having the hometown kid, Austin Matthews, hometown by adoption, him winning the NHL All-Star Game MVP. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. We were debating, should we stick around Thursday, Friday, talk about it a little bit? But you know what? It was nice to have a couple of days off. The grind is real, but we are back and ready to dive into it. So listen, there's three big topics that we wanted to hit before getting into the games tonight, stuff that happens over the last 4 days. One of them being Tom McClellan, coach of the Los Angeles Kings, fired over the course of the break. We've talked about it before on the show. This was kind of speculation that we've had, whether we thought that he should be fired or not. I personally hate it, do not like it at all, and we can dive into it. However, some breaking news as of this minute: Kings hiring former Senators coach DJ Smith as assistant, and Jay Hiller, the former assistant coach of the Kings, sticking around as the head coach for the Kings for the remainder of the year. So that's interesting that They promote the guy within. They bring another coach in as the assistant coach. Yeah, don't love it. I don't love it, but we can kind of dive into it here. Andre, what's your first reaction um to this whole deal? I mean, I think we kind of said it over the last couple of weeks, but how did you feel about all this moving forward? And do your predictions of the Kings making the playoffs from last week change at all? Because I don't think mine do.
It's an overreaction for sure. This seems like a move that a fan would want and make for a team that struggling but had wild success to start the year and is still in a playoff spot. I know they were trending down the wrong way, but I think you give them after the break to kind of regroup, see if he can put some things back together. I don't like or understand this firing. It seems very aggressively reactionary to me. Um, yeah, I thought you were going to say DJ Smith got hired as the interim head coach. That was like, oh,
That's what I thought I was
but
going to say too. But then I kept reading and I was like, oh, because as we were doing the introductions, I looked down and I was like, oh, DJ Smith. The notification popped up. But then as I kept reading, I was like, assistant. Okay.
yeah, that would have been a bad move. I don't like the move to fire McClellan. I said they weren't going to make the playoffs. That might have been too harsh. We'll see what they have going moving forward, but I think it's ridiculous based on where they're at and the timing of it. If you fire them during the slump, maybe I get it. You fire them during the All-Star break. That doesn't even make sense to me. Like, just give them a couple games after to see if they can put something else together. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, they won that game against Nashville going into the All-Star break. The reality is that these decisions are probably made in advance. I don't know if you're 2-14. I don't know if one game makes a difference, but I'm with you. Like, I picked them to miss the playoffs last week as well. I think John was the only one who picked them to make it. I do think that if they were going to make it, their best opportunity was with Tom McClellan as the coach. Like, I don't I think that this is a player's issue. Clearly, I think Drew Doughty said so. Kopitar said so. Like, we got guys in the room behaving a certain way. I think this is a player's issue and a construction issue as well. Tom McClellan's a really good coach. Like, if he wants to coach, he'll coach. Like, he can get a job in a week if somebody chooses to fire somebody and move on. Like, this guy will get hired again. There's no doubt about it. To bring DJ Smith in, to me, and listen, this just happened. I haven't looked into this. I could be wrong on this. But to me, like, my knee-jerk reaction is if they're hiring DJ Smith, they're planning on hiring DJ Smith. Like, I don't know why you bring him in unless it's like, hey, we want to take a look at this guy. Maybe he's the guy for the future. And if you have a team, no disrespect to DJ, but if you have a team, you have Craig Berube sitting out there. Like, you have Bruce Boudreaux sitting out there. Like, I know that like Bruce has his reputation, but Bruce takes good teams, takes them to the playoffs, and then gets fired like a year or two later. Like, all you want to do is get to the playoffs, and you have really good coaches sitting there. I don't know. It doesn't fully make sense to me. But John, what do you think about all this?
Well, the DJ Smith news is a little bit surprising to me, the way it transpired, at least. To bring him in as an assistant, I think is a little bit unusual. I do agree with you, though. They're probably going to end up hiring him as the head coach at some point, unless things go disastrously bad, to put it that way. I'm pretty much on the same page with you guys. I'm not shocked McClellan got fired. Sorry, I don't know if I said that right, but I'm not shocked at the firing. More like More like I felt like he was a scapegoat. I don't think any of us are truly shocked, but don't think the guy deserved it by any means. I certainly feel that way, at least. Um, I think the way I looked at it, I said this on the last show we did before break. I already felt like the Kings hit their low point already and couldn't possibly be this bad the rest of the year. I thought they were just going through a difficult time and needed to work their way through it. Like the Kings had a really good start to the year, so I didn't really. I definitely thought this was on. Andre said this. I thought it was like a fan overreaction move. Seemed to be a knee jerk reaction to a bad slump, and don't get me wrong, it was a really bad slump, but it just felt like something I believed the Kings could work through. I didn't think this was going to bury them, you know? So I don't think it changes my opinion on what I think the Kings will do this year. I think I still have them in the 7 spots in the West, but I don't I don't think the guy deserved to get fired, put it that way.
Yeah, and I think that like the timing is weird. You feel like it would have already been done if they were gonna fire him. I was proved wrong with the Chris Knobloch thing in Edmonton. I guess for me, it's like you're gonna fire Todd McClellan for a first time coach. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. But hey, what do I know? All right, moving on to a couple trades that happened over the weekend. January 31st, the Vancouver Canucks acquire forward Elias. Wow, I butchered that. Lindholm from the Calgary Flames for forward Kuzmenko, the rights to unsigned defenseman prospects Hunter. Wow, I shouldn't have even attempted this without reading it first. For a couple prospects and a first round pick in the 2024 NHL draft and a conditional pick in the 2024 draft. Kuzmenko has been healthy scratched by the Canucks a few times, had not even a few times, probably, I don't know, 7, 8 times so far this year. Had a really good season last year. They extended him. The kid's got loads of talent and potential, but it just hasn't clicked this year. The Canucks needed some depth. Lindholm is a good player by all means, hasn't had a good year by his standards. I'm interested to see if this kind of catapults something. It's definitely I thought that Vancouver, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I thought for Vancouver and the team we're going to talk about next, Winnipeg, I thought for both of them, like, you guys are having such rock star years. Don't like rock the boat. Like, just roll with it. I don't think you want to change this roster too much. That being said, Kuzmenko has been in and out of that lineup the whole year. So to add somebody that you're going to have in every game, I think that doesn't rock the boat too much. I'll point out this next trade and then get you guys in on what you think. So the other trade, February 2nd, Winnipeg Jets acquire forward Sean Monahan from the Montreal Canadiens for a first-round pick in this year's draft and a conditional third-round pick in the 2027 draft. Monahan battling injuries the last few years. Really good player, still really young. 29 years old. Seems like Monahan's been in the league forever. Still a young guy. Definitely adds some depth. And that's what this has done for both of these teams, Vancouver and Winnipeg, is add depth down the middle of the ice. We'll start with you, Andre. Anything to add on one or both of those trades?
I mean, I like the Monahan trade for the Jets. They need some scoring punch. I think their roster could be tweaked a little bit. I know they're playing very well right now, but they kind of limped into the break. There are holes outside of really the defense and goaltending. So I liked Monahan trade for them. And I don't think they sacrifice too much where it's going to really hurt them. I think that makes them a lot better. I agree with you with Vancouver, though. I don't know if I'm the Vancouver GM. I understand you have to make a move that says we're trying to win now. Like, we're bringing the cup home this year. Like, we have everything there. I'm not sure if I would have messed with that locker room at all. Honestly,
Yeah.
they're rolling, top of the league, second in scoring, second in goal prevention. I think the biggest favorites to win their division right now, for good reason. Nothing's ever perfect, but Vancouver is pretty close to perfect, I would think. So we'll see if that helps them. We'll see if the adjustment period kind of slows them down at first. Obviously, they didn't make the move expecting or thinking that they were gonna, get worse, but we'll see if it alters their momentum a little bit. That was
Yeah. Sorry, bro. Yeah, I do think that because it was Kuzmenko, I feel a little bit less skeptical about it. But I agree with you. I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? John, what do you see in one or both of these trades?
Yeah, I think the Winnipeg trade is a little more simple to break down. I like it a lot for Winnipeg. It seems like a team that's in a tight race right now, trying to get deeper than they already are. And I thought they were a pretty deep team. I think we all did before this trade deadline. So it's a team clearly going for it. Montreal is a team that probably needs to rebuild a little bit. So I think this trade works for both sides. The Vancouver Calgary thing, I think is a little more interesting. I think we all seem to be taken back by this a little bit. I'm not really sure what to make of this. I think the initial reaction seems to be that sorry, Kuzmenko, sorry.
All good.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names in the
That's
NHL
I
world.
didn't even get through a name like 5 minutes.
Kuzmenko, the initial reaction I'm trying to say is, despite his good stats, the common takeaway seems to be he's not a good fit for the Vancouver system. But I agree with you guys in that you're kind of like, what's the term for this? You're like kind of touch the apple a little bit. I definitely butchered it, but
I love it. Touch the apple.
you're messing with a good.
Sounds a little dirty.
Yeah, I love it. It's a bit weird. But I
reference here. Yeah.
Is it like not like bumping the apple tree or like the apple cart? Something about an apple cart. I think I know where you're going.
No.
I'm with it. No, I love it. Touching the apple. I love it.
Overall, the point I'm trying to make is Vancouver is you're messing with a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like Calgary got a lot back in this.
Yes.
Trade, I think.
Big time.
Again, I was really surprised about, considering Kuzmenko put up he put up 39 goals last year. So that's really surprising, the amount that it's really surprising the amount Calgary got back for that. So that raises an eyebrow in my opinion. I feel like Vancouver was trying to get the player they got at a lower value, because I think this is his worst, Lindholm. It's his worst season statistically, at least in the last 3 years. So maybe they were trying to buy low. I don't know. But I'm a little surprised that the haul Calgary got back. It made me, I don't know. Am I missing something here with this?
Yeah, I'm not too surprised, just because number one, like I said, Kuzmenko has been healthy scratched for like a third or at least a quarter of the season. It was very, very, very well known that Tocchet, not a fan of Kuzmenko and did not want Kuzmenko in the lineup. So I think Calgary was like, we know that you don't want this guy. We're not just going to trade one of our best players for somebody that you don't want. So that I also think that Lindholm was going somewhere one way or the other, and we're still like a month away from the trade deadline. So I think it was like it's pretty common that it's more expensive the farther away from the deadline you are. So that's the two factors that I think that it's like we know you don't want them, we'll take them, but like you're gonna have to give us a bit more, and he's going somewhere. So if you want him now, you're gonna have to give us a I was gonna say beefy package, but that's almost as weird as touching the apple. So yeah, that's what I think about it. I don't know, Andre. Do you see it differently?
If you're trying to squeeze a metaphor out of me, today's not the day. Creative bone isn't working.
Guilty as charged. All right. Yeah, that's what I think, John. I don't know if that, but all right.
That's fair.
Moving on. I promise no more weird metaphors from here on out. We are getting into the NHL is back. Only 2 games on the slate tonight, but both games are near and dear to our hearts, Andre. First one.
That's right.
You know what? Let's start with your guys first.
Oh god.
We just had the All-Star game in Toronto. I feel like I talk about my team when my team's not even playing. So let's talk about the New York Rangers home against the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado minus 108. Rangers slight favorites at minus 112. The over is 6.5 at minus 122. The under is plus 102. Plus 1.5 on the puck line for Colorado is minus 250. Puck line for Rangers at minus 1.5 is plus 205. Let's see, Andre, what did the break do? How objective are we feeling about this Rangers team tonight?
We're not feeling objective at all. I woke up and I said, "There's no quit in New York." So I'm taking Rangers 1.5 to start us off.
Wow.
No cares in the world.
All right.
5-3 win over Colorado. Sturkin, Trocheck, Team Matthews guys. Shout out to Austin Matthews and the Maple Leafs in Toronto, by the way. Beautiful, beautiful All-Star break. I think everyone's going to be refreshed for the most part. Panarin's going to have his dad's strength going. Just had a kid. Feeling really good. They're in the Garden. Vibes are up. Knicks are playing well. I'm not even going to talk about hockey right now. I'm just going to say I love New York. I love the Rangers. I love my team. And they're going to win 5-3. No objectiveness at all.
I love it. Absolutely love it. John, what do you see in tonight's game, bro?
A good game to welcome back the NHL from the All-Star break. I'm a bit torn on this one. I feel like the Rangers could use a win. Maybe like start out the second, I don't want to say second half of the season, post All-Star break the right way. They were we talked about it before, kind of treading water in the first half. Colorado was playing pretty well going into the All-Star break. Like, I believe they were 7-3 or something like that in their last 10. So, yeah, Colorado was playing well. They haven't played in like a week, so I don't know if this break is going to hurt them momentum-wise. I'm assuming that it's not going to benefit them. I'm leaning Rangers being back in the Garden post All-Star break, going on the road after a while. Probably not going to do Colorado any favors. So, yeah, give me the Rangers money line.
I poisoned the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you really did. Yeah, I don't really know which way to go with either of these games tonight. And the reason being is you have the All-Star break. What does that do, right? You have guys who are at the All-Star game. You also have guys with their toes in the sand for however many days, right? So I don't know if momentum going into the All-Star break really matters. I think a team like the Rangers and the Islanders, for that matter, in the other game, who went into the All-Star break kind of limping. You would think that they would have a bit more pep in their step coming out of the All-Star game. I was looking at some props and stuff like that. And, Nathan McKinnon, over 1.5 points. That doesn't let us down very often. Panarin was scoring before the break. But at the same time, it's just who knows what this momentum does, right? Does the momentum carry on? Does the momentum fade away? I feel that way about both of these games. The Rangers, they were 5-9 in January, finished 2-2 leading into the break. We've talked about the Rangers' trouble. We had a little intervention therapy session for Andre, I think a week or two ago. I think the Rangers are going to be fine. Do they win tonight? I'm not sure. I like, though, if you think they're going to win 5-3, means that you think they're going to win in regulation. If you're scared of the -1.5, the 60-minute line is +120 for the Rangers, which I like those odds. If you think it's going to be regulation, but the -1.5 is kind of I would probably, I'll be honest, my first reaction, and I didn't even look, my first reaction, just with the way that the Rangers kind of backdoored into the All-Star break here, I looked at the -1.5 for the Colorado side, which is +185. But that being said, I think the over is the best play here. That's the one that I feel the most confident about. I think both defenses will be kind of rusty. I think the goalies might be rusty as well. And I think that the scoring is going to be high. I think that's the best bet here. Is over 6.5 at -122. I do kind of lean Colorado, bro. I'm not going to lie. Don't mean to be disrespectful. I just think that they were playing so good in January. But like I said, what does that mean going into the All-Star break? Who knows? All right. To the home of me and the home of the All-Star break, the Toronto Maple Leafs are hosting the Islanders. -148 are the Maple Leafs. +124 are the Islanders. The over is 6.5 at -120. The under is +100. +1.5 on the puck line for the Islanders is -192. -1.5 for the puck line is +160 for the Maple Leafs. Number one, I feel like these teams go to overtime every time they play each other. I believe the last 2 times they played, they went to overtime, if I'm not mistaken. +370, a 60-minute draw. I like that bet a lot. I also like the under. I think that, you would think that what I said about the last game, about both defenses being rusty or whatever, going into the All-Star break, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be the opposite for these two teams. I mean, knowing my team, I feel like the offense is going to be rusty, and I feel like it's going to be a much more conservative, dialed-in game defensively. Samsonov, out of all the troubles that he's had over the last few months, he has looked unreal the last few weeks. He's playing tonight. He just had a break. This is very sensitive, very touchy. I feel like the defense for the Leafs is going to be super locked in, super dialed in. Be interesting to see how the Islanders look. I do like the under at plus money. Now, we talked about Andre not being able to see the Rangers clearly a week or two ago. This is where I need you guys to talk to me, because as a Leafs fan, this is a classic Monday night at home. Had a million days off. They last played on the weekend, like last weekend. I don't think they've played since last Saturday, if I remember correctly. That's over a week. To me, this is classic. Take the Islanders plus 124 and like lock it in. But Islanders 3-10 in January, finished on a 3-game losing streak. 5-game 1-score game streak for whatever that's worth. The Leafs 8-5 in January, a pretty up and down January, but finished 4-1. 3-game winning streak. 2 of those games being against the Winnipeg Jets. I injured Winnipeg Jets, but the Jets, nonetheless. I like the under, and I don't really want to touch a side in this one either. I'm being a little bit sheepish when it comes to these totals or comes to these sides. But honestly, boys, the Maple Leafs that I know plus 124 Islanders looks pretty good to me. But you guys can be the voices of reason. John, we'll start with you, man. What do you see in this game tonight?
I get your hesitation. I think before the All-Star break, I was a little anti-Islanders. I did think they were going to start fading, especially because, I don't know, we talked about the dead cat bat several times in the history of our podcast, and I feel like it's already passed for the Islanders. I just think Toronto's the more balanced team, the more complete team, and also I weirdly think hosting the All-Star game helps travel-wise for this game. Like, they don't have to meet up anywhere. They just have to wait in their own homes and then like come back out when it's time to play again. Whereas the other teams kind of have to regroup and go play on the road in this instance. I mean, Toronto could score a lot more than the Islanders. They have the stars to back it up, and I'm kind of liking the Toronto puck line here, honestly. I do expect the Islanders to start fading. I think I said this last week as well. So the Toronto 1.5, I believe, is plus 150. And I think Mark said Samsonov is probably playing tonight. That does make me a little nervous, admittedly, but I'm weirdly going to trust it considering Toronto is still minus 148 on the money line. I do kind of like the puck line here tonight, plus 150. So give me that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when they finish playing in Winnipeg on Saturday, whoever's not in the All-Star game, they went to somewhere hot. I feel like they left right from Winnipeg. Actually, they might have had to come home to Toronto because I don't know where you can go from Winnipeg. No disrespect. But anyway, I digress. Andre, what do you see in this game tonight, bro?
I just, Mark, just real quick, you brought up Winnipeg. Is it true that people like hit the driving range and stuff when it's like plus 2 degrees Celsius in Winnipeg? It's like
I'm sure. I haven't heard one way or the other, but those guys out there, they're built differently out there, man.
Okay.
Like when it hits minus 30 Celsius here, it's like, holy frig, it's minus 30 Celsius. When it's like minus 30 out in Winnipeg, it's like, yeah, man, it's Tuesday. What do you expect? Like, it's just kind of like, what?
Scary place. Never going there.
Yes.
I, like John, I'm big on the Maple Leafs in this one. I like the 60-minute line at minus 110. I like the puck line here. Just like last game, I guess the next few days kind of be like this. There's no really momentum to speak of. January is over. A lot of guys got off their feet, got to rest, chill with their families, blah, 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 blah. They're going to come out, and it's not going to be like the beginning of the season again, but it's going to be a fresh start in a sense. And if you're stacking these teams against each other, Islanders don't compare, especially not with the worst PK in the league up against the Toronto power play. Not a chance. And like John said, I think the All-Star game being in Toronto helped a lot. The guys that went on vacation came back, got to chill at home the extra day or two, whereas the Islanders had to go home and then fly to Canada. The guys that were in the All-Star game, just home the whole time. it's nice to be the host city sometimes. I think this is one of those times where it's really going to pay off. I think very convincing Maple Leafs win in this one, even on a Monday. Even on a Monday.
All right. I love it. See, that's why I need you guys here, man. I don't know. I'm not so confident, but there's no doubt going into the break who the better team was. And I really did believe in the dead cat bounce with Patrick Waugh. The guy's won everywhere he's gone. It's been tough though. And I think that team did need like a whole structure rehaul. So maybe it's coming here down the stretch. Pardon me.
Valid.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. That is all that we got for the games tonight. So let's move on to our best bets, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Promo code Sports Addict for 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. John, we'll start with you. 2 games to choose from, man. What is your best bet?
Whole wide range of options, right? I'm gonna go with your team, Mark, on the Leafs puck line. I do think they're the much better team than the Islanders. I weirdly feel like the All-Star game being in Toronto helps them here with the travel. And I kind of what Andre said, I just feel like they're gonna show up tonight and get a convincing win and kind of regroup, quite honestly. And like I said before, I just expect the Islanders to start fading off.
Okay. You make me nervous with that, but I love it. Andre, what do you see as your best bet?
Yeah, I'm going to head to the Garden, and I'm going to expect a lot of offense tonight. Avalanche, Rangers, elite scorers all over the ice. Goalies are good. Defenses are good. Offenses are better. I think it's going to be a fast-paced game, especially coming out of the break. Communication might be a bit rusty for both sides. So I'm liking the over 6.5. The odds aren't the sexiest at minus 122, but it's a great pick. It's a great bet.
Love it. All right, not much to choose from. I'm gonna go to the prop side. I do think what you guys were talking about with regards to the boys who were in the All-Star game for Toronto being home, I think does matter for those players. I think one of the top power plays in the league against the worst PK, or at least one of the worst PKs in the league for the Islanders. Austin Matthews, this guy's been rolling all year long. 40 goals, on pace for 1 million goals. Always a minute plus on the power play when the power play is on. I like him at over 1.5 points at plus 120. So we're getting a little bit risky. Can you do that with the same game parlay?
Yeah.
On DraftKings? Perfect. So it's a little bit risky with your guys' bets, but all the shot totals are just kind of all over the place today. I do like Nylander. An honorable mention, Nylander over 4.5 shots on goal is what was it that I saw real quickly here? Plus 120 for over 4.5 shots on goal for Willie. I do like that, but I kind of trust the over 1.5 for Matthews more. So that's my best bet. Over 1.5 points, Austin Matthews plus 120.
So, John, how does it feel to be the only tri-state team not playing tonight? Do you feel like left out, or are you enjoying the extra day of rest?
I think he feels good about it. Yeah.
What Mark said. I think we could. I think we could use another day or two. Quite honestly.
I wish I didn't have to think about the Rangers for another day. So I feel you.
I haven't
Yeah,
looked. You guys play
there's
tomorrow?
reasons for that I'd rather not go into, but yeah.
Do you play tomorrow? I didn't look.
I gotta look actually. Like,
Yeah. Look at us.
I assume they do.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, they do. Oh, they definitely do.
Yeah, there's a lot of games tomorrow. Yeah, we
play,
play Colorado, ironically.
Oh, wonderful! Look at you guys, eh? Tough months.
No time.
First game back. Love it.
Yeah. So
Love
Leafs puck line is plus 160 at home. Austin Matthews over 1.5 points is plus 145 or plus 120. Excuse me. Parlayed together, that's plus 272. Add the over 6.5 in Avalanche Rangers. You have a plus 576 parlay.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Let's start off the back half of the year right, boys. And yeah, man, there's some great games tomorrow. I think Calgary, Boston's a sneaky good game. Vancouver, Carolina, Philadelphia, Florida, Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, Colorado, New Jersey, Edmonton, Vegas. There's some good games on tomorrow night, and we will break it all down here on Pucks Across Borders. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure to give us a follow right now at Sport Addict Mark on Twitter, but you can find us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And of course, our friends at First Round Collectibles. Number one, SPRoundCollectibles.com, promo code SportsAddict for 10% off. Also, thank you to Total Apex Sports for having us on their socials as well. Enjoy the games tonight. Hockey is back, baby. Good luck on your bets, and we will see you all.